Okay, so for this second tutorial, we're going to be learning about layers, about brushes, about blending modes, and maybe a couple other little incidentals that come up along the way as we do this project. So what we're going to do today is we're going to use Photoshop to create some makeup on a person. So obviously the first thing you're going to need is a picture of somebody's face. I chose this one because I like how clean and open the face is. It makes it really easy to actually get makeup on there. There's nothing in front of their face. They don't have a hand on their face. There's no hair coming down in front. But choose something that you think is going to work for you. And obviously, you know, when you think of makeup, you think of, you know, eyeshadow and lipstick, and that's fine. We can do that. But I decided I'm going to go this route. I'm going to actually use this as my reference. So, and I'm going to try and create this look on this guy. So before I get started, the very first thing I want to do is actually add a new layer, and that's the layer we're going to draw our makeup on. So we're not drawing on this character, on this person. So here we go. I'm going to go New, under Layer, and choose Layer. And say, okay, I'm not too worried about what it's called right now. And you look over here, you see what's happened is there's this thing called Layer 1. It doesn't look like anything has happened, but this is actually like we've laid a piece of glass on top of our background, and we can draw on top of that. And the reason why this is a good idea will become apparent in a moment. In fact, I'll just show you why it's a good idea right now. So let's just pretend I'm drawing makeup, and uh-oh, that didn't turn out very well. So let's say I want to erase it. If I start erasing it, I'm erasing my background as well, and not just the makeup. That's a problem. So I'm going to back up a couple of steps. If I do the same thing here, and I am drawing, oh, I use my brush, and I'm drawing on my guy, and then I want to erase. If I erase it, I'm erasing just the makeup. So that's a nice little way to save your butt down the line. So anyway, here we are, Layer 1. This is where I'm going to start drawing my makeup. The first thing I want to do is make his face all white. So to do that, right now I'm drawing in black. I don't want to draw in black. I want to draw in white. So I'm going to just click on this black box here, choose the color I want, in this case white, say OK. Now my brush, I'm going to select it, but it's a little bit small. I want it bigger, so I'm going to go up here. And this is my controls for my brush. I can adjust the size. I can just hover over my image and see how that changes as I adjust the size of my brush, getting bigger or smaller. I'm going to set it around 100, I think, maybe a little bigger. And I can also adjust my hardness, and hardness adjusts how well defined the edges of my brush are. So for example, if I go like this, you can see, I'll zoom in a little bit, you can see the edge is really well defined. If I go here and turn my hardness down, I'll just turn it right down to 0. Same brush, but you can see it's a big difference, right? It's very soft on the edges. Now, I don't like really the look of either of these brushes. They're both just very boring and they don't have any texture to them, and I want a little bit of shape to make it look more like actual makeup on this guy's face. So I'm just going to back up, get rid of those, and I'm going to go into here, and nope, sorry, I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to go down to Dry Media Brushes, and I'm going to choose the Ultimate Pastel Palooza. And it gives me a brush with a little more texture to it. Now I'm going to change my size again and jump it up to about 150 thereabouts. And you can, this is not what you must do, this is just what works for me right now given my situation. But I'm going to start coloring him, and you can see the edge is kind of got that nice little texture to it, which makes life a lot better. It looks nice, and I'm deliberately kind of missing spots just to try and make it look a little more like the makeup's been applied in a realistic way. Okay, so there's my makeup. Doesn't look very good, does it? But the other reason we have a layer is so that we can actually change the way that this layer interacts with the layer underneath it. So the way that I do that is over here, there's this thing that says normal. I've got this layer selected, and I go up to normal, and I can actually change the way that this blends with the layer underneath it. Now I've gone through all of these, and you can see that they have a different they have a different effect depending on what they do. Now white doesn't give you much in the way of results, but I know from having already tried this that if I go to soft light, I like the way that one looks, and it seems to like look like the makeup is actually sitting on his skin now instead of just being a weird white thing. So that versus that. So that's what I'm going to go with. The other thing that I can adjust is the opacity. This is how see-through my layer is. So 0 being completely see-through and 100% being not see-through at all. So you can adjust the intensity of that effect. I'm going to keep it pretty high, but you can see that when I do it, it lets some of the, when I lower the opacity, it lets a little more of the skin detail through, and it makes it look like there's actually makeup sitting on this guy's skin, which is pretty cool. So that looks pretty good, I think. Next, I'm just going to go over here, and again, using this as reference, I want to do the eye makeup next. Now, the way that I can get that nice color, that's very specific kind of bluey green color, is I can use the eyedropper. I'm just going to be lazy and use eye. But you can see it's automatically appeared down here. Eye for eyedropper. Get it? Ha ha. Okay. So I can click that. It automatically picks up that color. You can see it shows up right down here. Perfect. Now I'm going to come back in here, reselect my brush, and I'm going to do the eyes. But now that brush size is too big. Back over here. And bring it down. Just keep checking. That's not bad. So we'll go there, and then we'll start drawing in. Oops. Drawing in the eyes. But actually, I want to make another layer for this. So I'm going to go layer, new layer. I'm going to separate each element of the makeup onto its own layer. Gives me a little flexibility, and also I'm going to be using different blending modes for each layer to get the best looking version of this that I can. So here I go. Again, it looks really dorky right now, really way too strong, but we'll mess around with some blending modes and we will figure out what's going to look best in just a minute. Okay, so now I've got my eye makeup basically done. Again, I've kind of left it looking a little bit ratty to try and make it seem a little more realistic. And I'm going to go to here, and again, I know because I've already tried this before, I'm going to do a multiply. I like the way that looks. It seems to sit really nicely on top of his skin again, and make it look like it's actually there, letting some of that skin detail show through. Next, I'm going to create the eyes, nose, and mouth. So again, I want to make a new layer. So I'm going to go layer, new, layer. And if you're really comfortable with this, you might start noticing that there's these little shortcuts that appear beside each one. Yours are going to look different. I'm doing mine on a Mac, but yours will probably look like Control-Shift-N. Same thing, though. It's a keyboard shortcut to create a new layer. So instead of going to the menu, I can just go Command-Shift-N, and that does the same thing. Layer 3, there I go. And now again, I'm going to go back over here, use my eyedropper tool, pressing I, and get a color sample from his eyebrow there, and back over I go. Okay, and again, I'm just going to adjust the blending mode. And I know, again, because I've already done this, that I want to do a linear burn way up here. I've already tried this a couple different ways. Now, you know, I'm not super excited about the way that looks. So I'm just going to cheat a little bit and do something that I wasn't planning on showing you here, but I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, and I'm going to go to this one, Hue Saturation. It's too red. So saturation, this one here, actually controls how much color is in an image, and this controls the lightness. So I'm going to just muck around with this just a little bit. Turn up the lightness, reduce the saturation. I like that much better. That versus that. Just a small difference. Okay. Cool. So almost there. Last thing is hair. So exact same process. I'm just going to speed through it. And again, we're going to go and change this after having experimented. I like the way that one looks. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to soft light. And again, let's just play with my opacity here a little bit and just see. Yeah, that's looking better. All right. Not bad. There we go. I might want to brush up these edges a little bit. They're a little rough, but overall, I'm pretty happy with that result. There it is. Now, when I'm done and I want to hand this in, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go here. I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to say Merge Visible. If I click on that, watch. Now everything is one layer. I can go File, Save As, and give it a name like Joker Makeup, and I can hand that in on Classroom. Done deal.